I'm gonna tell you the truth now. The thing that I am the proudest about myself is that in my stories, I was not afraid of or ashamed to talk about God, because many people don't want you to. And I wasn't trying to be too bold. It's just that I love him. And I know he said, if you're not ashamed of me, I won't be ashamed of you. And I don't want him ashamed of me. So I put him everywhere that I could. It's only 3 pages, and it's about Sinsum, who is a demon. And he's 5,000 years old, and he knows that his time is ending, because it says in the Bible that Satan will be cast out. But in the new world, the one where you say, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, is coming. And so Satan has to go. And so, so he's I don't know, I kind of fell in love with him. I don't like him, but he was hard to get to talk, but he didn't go away. My people come with music or different mornings, and he wouldn't go away. But you've heard it, so you know that and he loves serial killers and Hitler and stuff like that. But I love the way he put it on people. And when I was sitting there, I think it was in Atlanta, and he said, and I'm waiting on you. And people said, because it was talking about them.
How many novels have you written? How many short story
Well, it's
volumes?
12 books, and there may be 4 novels, 5 novels.
But each story is so painfully personal.
They're tragedies with some laughter. Well, yes, because that's what's always happened. You know, I played with paper dolls till I was 18. And so I'm used to characters coming to me. They're used to my mind being make-believe. And so they live happily in there, you know, and I'm happy with them. And when I'm through with them with the story, they can go. And that's why I wear that dress when I read, because I get a chance to get them back and in that dress. And that's why if I just stood up and said, and then after she went down, it wouldn't be the same. But that dress is another piece of my magic, which belonged to my mother, which was across her bed when Alice Walker said, we gotta go because you have to read. And I said, in front of everybody? And she said, yes. So I snatched that off of my mother's bed because I knew it was big, and I've worn it ever since, every time. Now that's a lot of years. And that thing washes out so smoothly and nicely. But it's a muumuu, nothing touching, but my people all live in it. And then I have a hat that I got from New York, the stage in New York, that my man, the one who's such a big liar, the one who loved women, and so they gave me that hat. So I carry that around in case I read his story. And he can come with it. And there's the other one that I read, that old man who went off from his wife into the big city, that pretty city. And everybody was beautiful, and all the long-legged girls, and we got so battered up and everything. And then when he got home, he kissed the ground because he was so glad to be safe, you know. He said, and when my son visits, I tell him, come on in, because I know you're tired, because it was quite a time for him. I don't want to go off on you.
Oh, no, you're not. I'm quite enjoying.
Shingles is hard on you, child. And sometimes, you know, if I hadn't had shingles and all these pains and things, this breast has never stopped hurting. And I always have to be, and I don't want to wear this brassiere because this brassiere hurts. But if there's no brassiere, then the breast hangs. So then, it's heavy. So it's just, but I know that it's all part of life. You just are not going to get through this thing without some pain, some kind of pain. And so I'd rather this kind than other kinds. You know, sometimes I look at my life and I say, I could have been a prostitute. Now, not a prostitute that's on Fifth Avenue and all that crap, but I could have been anything in the dregs of somebody waiting in the gutter for somebody to bring me some wine. I could have been an alcoholic because I liked wine and I loved martinis, but I had to stop drinking them. I got these shingles. And I could have been a drug addict. I've tried it, not all of it, but I've tried it enough to have become addicted. Not tried enough, but I've tried enough of the kinds to get one of them to snap into place. And one fellow was going to bring me something. He said, I got something I really want you to try. And something just said, that's that crack. And I said, no, don't bring that. I'm not going to try that. And I don't know why, but you know, when you pay attention to God, he does look out for you. And I guess he said, not this one, and I didn't. But I could have been hooked on anything, alcohol, just a man, and the wrong man, you know. But instead of that, I got married several times, and I loved getting married. I loved saying I knew to the preacher or the minister, whoever it was, because there was something so romantic about it. And I did collect 24 engagement rings because I grew up thinking I was ugly and I was never going to get married. And I found this book when I was 14 in the secondhand store that was called The Technique of the Love Affair. But she wasn't a cheap. She was very classy and had manners, and she said, one thing you've got to have is respect. Now I'll tell you how to get him, and you have to practice. So I practiced, and during the practice, I got 24 engagement rings. That took about 10 years, 12 years. I got married, and it was very exciting, but I have that book still, and I found it when I was 14, and now I'm 80. And I'm about to die sometime, and I don't know what to do with that book. I guess just bury it with me, because who would I give it to?
Well, I'm sure there's someone.
I've made copies of it and give it to some people who don't have sense enough to do it. You have to have some control over yourself.
What advice would your 80-year-old self give to your 14-year-old self?
Just what I did. Keep it, try to copy it and help somebody, and just keep it, because, and no more lending it and that sort of thing, because people don't give things back. I sent to Chicago to get it once, and I sent to Los Angeles to get it, lending it. But I got it back, because that is a book that is good on ethics, good on respect, and good on how to just snarl a man's mind up, not to hurt him. You're doing it, as she explains, to help him, because he won't be happy without you. So help him get in the position to get you, you know?
What was the biggest lesson out of that?
Oh, honey, it's hard of how to do it.
Yeah, how to get him.
You don't have sex with him. And I always told men, if I wasn't, that I really wanted to save myself for my husband. Because they need an ideal to look up to. It may not be true, and it could be true, but they need something that's going to make them feel special if you marry them or if you sleep with them. But you have to be sure and not sleep with them. You'd be surprised how far a man will go to get what he wants. It's just common sense.
It's the common sense we've gotten away from.
Yes. Well, because Satan came in and made it really great to be loved, and he changed sex into love, which is not. Love is love. Sex is just sex. Oh, I don't know, because I was deeply in love about 2 months ago. And he was a white young man, and I never thought I'd like a white man. I always thought they weren't done. Plus, he was about 24, 25, and I'm 80. So there were no sexual connotations to it. He was so sweet and so kind and so considerate and always pleasant and good to me that I just grew to love him. But having God like I do, I don't know if that's the kind of love God says, love your neighbor. But I truly loved him and trusted him, and I didn't. But there were no sex feelings to it. But I loved him, and I still do. But I have to keep telling myself, listen, child, this man doesn't know what he's doing. You know, he keeps acting like he loves me, and I look at my face. I know that man cannot love me, and I wouldn't let him if he wanted to. But no, because I'm not a fool. Have you ever seen an old woman or an old man with a young person? Yeah, well, that's why.
When you talk about your characters, have they changed over the years in terms of the issues that come with them?
Well, it's a good thing you're a good listener, because this is really what I know. Jehovah made 10 commandments, and he caught everything man was going to do wrong from Adam and Eve till now. They just have different dresses on, different clothes on, different shoes, but they're doing the same thing. People are still the same. They may have found a new drug or a new alcohol or something, but lying is the worst, one of the worst. Stealing, coveting, you know how we got into Iraq? By coveting, lying, and wanting what was your neighbor's. You know, everything that happens on earth goes back to those 10. So I don't need new thoughts. But they have found new ways to do some things. They're the same old things, though. but I like thinking people. Like, I like Jamie Foxx because he does, he's a multiple layered person. It's not going to make him happy, but one thing that might help him be happy is he knows how to take his own counsel. He does not spread his business around. You know, he's cool, I guess. People hardly ever mention principles. They think they are not in style. But they are, because they promote respect. And the one thing you need for love, every woman, every man, you need to be respected. You have loved somebody you didn't respect, but you kept saying to yourself, oh, I'll be glad when I don't love this man, because you can't help it. You have to respect the person for love to grow. If you don't respect them. No, my hand shakes too much, and when I write, I have to write it over, whatever it is, and it's too much writing over. And pretty soon I draw it, and then you can't see it at all, and then it looks like I've drawn it, and and why would I be bothered anyway? Because my whole thing now is preaching. I love preaching Jehovah's Word, and since these are the last days, and I know it, and I told someone the other day, a new tragedy happens every week. We have a new tragedy on this earth. We used to get them once 6 months, once 3 months, but now every week. And this last one is the E. coli. But before that's the flood, then before that's the tsunami, and before that's the tornadoes, and ever since November. So, and in the Bible it says, when you see the buds on the fig tree, know that the figs will soon be coming out. And he said, let he who has discernment understand when you see these things happening, and he listed them in Matthew's and in what's that last, Revelation, then know that the end is near. And you know how you ask yourself, am I in the right religion? Am I, you know, is this, everybody says they're the truth. And then it says that, and this good news, because I can ask you, what is the good news? And I don't know if you would know or not, but the good news is that this is going to end, and the kingdom shall come. And well, and it says, this good news of this kingdom will be preached in all the world for everyone to know, and then the end will come. Well, who has knocked on your door lately?
Well, not many people lately, but
if they have.
Jehovah's Witnesses now.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So, and that's what I am. And so then I said, well, is it the Jehovah's Witnesses? But I do know this, when I looked up their history, they have never gone to war and shot their brother. They go to prison. That's commendable, because in other religions, they bless wars. And they say, and God is on our side. That's not true. Yeah. So many lies. But you know, it's all Satan being busy. So then I've decided I am in the right religion, because we do preach, and that is what I want to do. And I do preach, and I carry my books with me, and I do everything. You know, and I contribute money to it, not because money belongs to God. But anyway, so he could have all of it if you want. But it's my whole life, and the peace that comes knowing that this system is about to end. You know, I got some papers the other day telling me, from Bank of America, telling me that the debt on my house note, something about it. But I paid cash for my house. So what kind of new thing are they going to come up with? Oh, I don't mean to move. But the thing is that you don't ever know what these people are going to do. This thing people being foreclosed on is, we don't know if that's a game. And people with billions of dollars are letting this happen to people, and they'll never spend their billions. Where is the love? I'm American, and you don't give anybody anything. And I'm going to tell you something else, and I am not political. You know, I do not vote except for God. But this Obama man, I respect him. He has done more for this country in the few months that he's been up there than since Reagan, since Clinton. And even though Clinton did good things for this country, he always got his. And Obama, I don't know if he's getting his or not. I don't know. But he's doing so much good he's not greedy. He's not wiping this country clean. because those white men would go with him. They would carry him to the top of, he would become emperor of this country if he wanted to, if he was with him. Oh, don't let me get off.
What do you think he's done that has been good for us? I don't mean like this particulars, but it seems like there's a sense of something here.
Yes, he did. He helped those people in Detroit stay on their feet. They didn't have to. He's fed people. He did the foreclosure he tried to do. He kept the money, the financial market from going. You didn't feel it because the people that were running these things were not running with you. But he kept a lot of things from happening in this country. And he knows the other countries. He can go to them and say, would you help me do this over here with like Libya? And people respect him all over the world, and they don't like him for that. And but he fights for right. Why did he go to Libya? Humanity. Why is he going to interfere in Syria? And I don't know that he will. It's humanity. People are getting, what do they call them, slaughtered? And it's happening all over the world. So who is the person, if you were God, would you look down and say, let me help him a little bit? Or let me remember him? Who would it be? The Bible says the entire duty of man, the entire obligation of man is to preach my word. That's his only obligation, because when he dies, he ain't gonna be able to grab a thing and take it with him. It was it Lot? No, not Lot. Job, who said, I came from my mother's womb empty-handed, and I shall not take anything with me when I go. That's true. Listen, honey, human beings are born flawed. That is what sinners means, that they don't have what it takes. To love, even, to really love. People used to be able to love more than they do now. But now Satan has got your mind deflected in about 20,000 different ways, and then he keeps you in debt. If not in debt, you're drugged or you're alcoholic. Satan is really, really busy. I see him coming in so many different directions in my life, and I don't hardly do anything. So look at here, I'm 80 and fell in love. But if I hadn't prayed to God, and if I didn't know that young man, I'd have been very, very, very careful, because I know Satan. Forgive me, but I know how that he takes things. But what could have happened? I'd have been another big fool on the block. The thing is, I'm going to preach, because that's all there is left. If this is the end, what do you think comes next? When he says that he's going to wipe out all the tears from their eyes. There will be pain nor death anymore. There will be, so you know we're not going to eat meat in the new world, in the new kingdom, because nothing's going to die. There'll be animals there. The lion shall eat hay with the lamb, and the child shall play with an asp. And there'll be no liars, and there'll be no car dealers selling you lies. There'll be no foreclosures on your houses, and you will build your house. You know, so who wouldn't want to go? And I believe him. That's why Jesus came, because he brought Lazarus back to life and a few other people, so you could see there is a resurrection. And he said, I am the way and the light and the life. And he is, and I believe him.
In addition to knowing that about God, in addition to knowing that you love and honor God, what would you want God to know about you? Oh,
that I'm sorry for everything I do wrong, all my shortcomings. Please forgive me. But God has been so good to me, and I know he has overlooked some, pardon me, Jehovah, but he must have, because he keeps helping me. But he had to overlook some, because, child, I have been a busy person. I wasn't running around sinning, but I didn't worry about it. I always helped other people, though. I loved people that were in trouble. That's why I wrote about them. People that didn't know what to do. And I think my books helped a little bit, because, you know, everywhere I go, people said, like you all said, and just getting the ticket at the airport in wherever I came from, California. And one lady was Joan California. Do you know Jake? Have you heard of Jake California? Yes, that's who Oh, and then she ran up and got another one. And these people I don't know. And when I came here, when I went to Minnesota, Minneapolis, I was at home and minding my business, and they kept calling and they kept calling. It's because I knew people had forgotten me, and these books had passed, and this was all passed. And they wrote from Minneapolis. I said, I didn't even know there were black people in Minneapolis, because, you know, but I went, and, you know, there some states by Minneapolis, and they had room for 400 diners. This was the deltas, and there's people from states around crowded that place because I never came and they didn't expect me to come back. And I signed books for hours, which I don't mind, but the thing is they hadn't forgotten. And then I come here, she calls, and like yourself, you remember, you got the books that I signed, you know.
Is this surprising to you?
Yes, because you know how fast things pass in these days.
But what you give us is not something that disintegrates.
Well, thank you, but I don't know how.
It's not biodegradable.
I don't know how other people, I'm glad they did, but you never know how somebody's going to accept a thing or understand it even. But that's why I use very plain English and very poor English. And I told Mrs. Bush when she had me to the White House, I said, this is not bad, it's uneducated English, but it's English. And the next man that came by and said, and you write in dialect? And she said, no, it's uneducated English. You know, I see why she fought for George. If she likes you, she'll fight for you, right or wrong. So.